It's been 2 weeks now since President Trump took office and signed a long list of executive orders. Many of them were focused on our southern border. 12 News journalist Bianca Buono was there the day after the inauguration. She also went back a week after that to see how these policies are making an impact.
The day after the inauguration, 12 News was there as Mexican government officials met at a sporting complex in Nogales, a site identified as a place to build a migrant shelter for Mexican nationals who may be deported from the U.S. A week and a half later, massive tents containing beds have been constructed there.
I would expect that we'll start to see those deportations probably by the first or second week of February.
Bianca joins us now for the backstory, and Bianca's there. You're there about a week apart, and I remember being down there for Title 42 at a gap in the border down by Yuma. We saw hundreds of people basically coming across, asking for amnesty, getting across, or going through. What did you see week to week when you were down there?
Well, first of all, that type of those images that we saw where hundreds, thousands of people were showing up in these large groups, that is no more. That is a thing of the past under these new policies over the course of the past couple of weeks or so, frankly, since President Trump was inaugurated and signed those executive orders. But very different compared north of the border compared to south of the border. North of the border, very quiet right now, but south of the border, kind of what you saw there, it's very busy because they are anticipating these mass deportations promised by the Trump administration, and a lot of those people are going to end up being sent back to Mexico. Where are those people going to go? So what we're seeing is the Mexican government now trying to put this plan into place. They are literally physically setting up massive tents in communities just south of the border, cities like Tijuana, cities like Nogales, Mexico.
For people to sleep in or stay
Yes.
in, or what are they for?
Yes, they are migrant shelters. So essentially what we saw just last week, 2 weeks after President Trump took office, we saw these huge tents, I mean football field sized tents with bunk beds lined up inside of them. We also saw them setting up tents where they're going to have all sorts of kind of benefit programs, anything from health benefits that people might need to finding shelter to finding jobs. They're expecting people that maybe have been living in the United States for decades to potentially be a part of these deportations, and where are those people going to go once that happens? That's what the Mexican government is now trying to figure out.
And are they also being set up for people who may be coming up from Central America through Mexico to get to the border, give them a place to at least temporarily stay? Is that what that is?
And we have talked to humanitarian groups that are located just south of the border on the Mexican side. They said that they've actually seen a slowdown because the word has been traveling further south to folks that the asylum program is suspended right now, so they can no longer come up to our port of entry to try to request asylum. That program has been canceled under President Trump. So thankfully, the news has been traveling south, so they're not seeing those large groups still coming because they would have run out of space at a lot of these organizations that typically have shelter for folks that are about to go through the asylum process. So a little bit slower for them right now, but they are also gearing up for an influx of people.
And we saw when you were down there, there was a stadium they were getting ready for.
Yes, it's a sporting complex. It's like a public sporting complex with every kind of sporting field that you can imagine. It's for public use. So when we were down there, we saw, kids playing soccer on one side of the complex. On the other side, you saw the Mexican National Guard there offering support and trying to just set this up as quickly as possible. The officials there told us they anticipate those beds to be ready by the end of this week. Again, this is all in anticipation of what President Trump has promised.
So a big change,
Lots of changes.
And you've got a couple of stories coming. Is it 6 and 10 o'clock tonight?
Yep, tonight at 6 o'clock, there will be a much more extended version showing our coverage, not only of south of the border. We also did a ride along with Customs and Border Protection to show just how big of a difference just 2 weeks can make. It's very interesting. And then tonight at 8, around 8:30 on 12 Plus, we'll have an even more, longer version there with a lot more information from CBP.
I love all that content going up on 12 Plus. Thank you, Bianca. So for continuing coverage on the impact of the border, again, make sure to download 12 Plus. Click the Border Impact tab for more stories from Bianca and our other journalists for immigration stories affecting Arizona. Tram.